So this is my name's Aditya. So this is section B of the DTNEA. So this section focuses on design brief and design specification for your product. So um, this part of the NEA is worth 10 marks. Should be around 1 or 2 slides at max. And so in the design brief, you should be looking at um, what your product is, what problem it's going to solve, who it's targeted at, your client, the requirements, what you need to accommodate for. Um, and one important point is that in your in your design brief, first of all, you use XSFM as a guideline, the acronym, and give quantifiable information. So don't just say. So for my NEA, I did a supplement organizer. So don't just say it needs to be small. Give specific dimensions. Don't just say it needs to carry these many tablets. Say that it needs to um, carry. So in my case, 20 tablets, 5 salt tablets, 100 grams of pre-workout powder, 5 fish oil tablets, and be specific as possible. Um, and this is basically you giving your guidelines for how you're going to progress with your with like how like you producing your product. And at the end, just talk about anything that you need to accommodate for specifically. And then for the design specification, um, use XSFM and be as specific as possible. So if you've put down a specification point, link it back to the research you've conducted in your research section, and explicitly do that. So either put in bold or in red. And if you have put down a specification point, justify it with your research and exactly why. So for example, I did surveys on art movements and design movements. So I talked about spray painting and hydro dipping my product to incorporate that. In the customer specification point, talked about what my like an important point that my customer wanted. So it needs to be accessible, and link that back to, let's say, an interview you had with them. With costs, be specific. Talk to them about the different costs involved, how you got to that value, and yeah, uh, and like selling price and cost to make it. And in the environment part, talk about like maybe certain equipment you could use to minimize your environmental impact, and also to keep your costs as low as possible. So for size, talk about dimensions, be specific, give them numbers. Safety, talk about not having sharp ends, loose ends, stuff like that. um, Function, talk about exactly what it's going to do, give them numbers. Material, talk about how durable it's supposed to be, if it's supposed to be washable or not. And one final point is, let's say you progress with this project and you were gonna one day like industrially make this. So would this be a one-off product, batch produced or mass produced? So talk about that and put that down as a specification point. And talk about like certain equipment you're going to use with like for this project, that's going to accommodate for that. So um, at the end, like, so in this section, just link it back to your research as much as possible. And yeah, that's about it. So 10 or 11 points for your specification should be pretty solid. And that's the end of this video. So in the next section, we'll be looking at design ideas.